Hey guys, so welcome to my Aurora tutorial. Now I've not done tutorials, so this is my first one, so bear with me as I find out what works, what doesn't. I will show you all the products I'm using, and I will be posting text over the video so you guys can kind of get an idea what I'm doing, but this is very much a visual video, so you guys are going to be able to pause it, stop it, whatever you need to be able to follow along. So as always, you guys, I'll be using a lot of Red Aspen products, and if you guys want any information on those or where to find them, you guys can always find them in my VIP group, or by messaging me, or by visiting my website. Super simple and easy. All right, you guys, let's get ready to go with some Aurora makeup. Look totally normal. So first, we're going to grab our bald cap and put it on now so that it doesn't affect our makeup when we put our wig on. Next, first off, we're going to do our color wax, Dawn's primer, on our eyebrows. This helps lay down the hairs and makes it easier to fill them. Next, you're going to take our Avery's brow pencils. We're going to do medium and dark. We're going to start with the dark and brush out our eyebrows. Make sure you're brushing them up with the hairs. Now we're going to outline our eyebrows very lightly. Make sure you're following exactly where the hair ends on the bottom and top. So always make sure you're measuring your brows. Start on the tip of your nose and slightly move it down to the little starts curve of your nose, and make sure that you're measuring your eyebrows evenly. The rule is, if you're missing some hair to make it even, draw that hair in, but make sure you're going with strokes of the. Once your brows are outlined, go back with your medium brush and start stroking and filling in your eyebrows. Make sure you're stroking up with the hairs. You're going to repeat this process a few times with the medium and dark pencil to give your eyebrows depth. Now we're going to take our spoolie and brush in the product. This will show you and help you get your eyebrows fuller. Then we're going to drag our spoolie across the top of our brow and lay down those brows. This is a finishing touch and how you can get your eyebrows filled and look like you actually have some. Definitely check and see if it's full. Fill in when you're wherever you need to. Now we're going to take our brush and concealer. We're going to now sculpt our eyebrows with the concealer. I like to start on the bottom and get as close to the hairs as possible without touching my brow I just did. This helps sharpen your brows and give them more shape. We're going to repeat the process on top. Make sure you're getting as close to the hairs as possible without touching them, as well as the inside of your brow. You're going to repeat on both. Once you're done etching out your eyebrows, make sure you're covering your lid with the same concealer as a prep for. Now we're going to take a damp makeup sponge and kind of blend in that concealer around your eyelids. Now we're going to take some shadow primer and we're going to paint that on top of our lid. Make sure you let it dry before you close your lid all the way. Make sure you're patting that down with the damp sponge. We're going to take our Alyssa Edwards palette, or any palette really, with 3 different browns in different shades. We're going to start with back rolls first. Actually, we're going to tape our eyes first, sorry. Now we're going to start with back rolls because it's the darkest brown on this palette, and that's the base. You always want to start with the dark base. Now the tape helps corner off my eye so that I can get a sharper edge. You're going to start in the outside corners of your eyes. You're not going to go all the way in. Maybe halfway in with the dark brown. Make sure you're blending it in very well. Get in that crease. Sometimes that eyeshadow primer can give creases. Make sure you're leaving enough space from your eyebrow on your lid. I have hooded eyes, so this is a little bit different for some people who don't. Do the same thing for both sides. Make sure you're blending it in with circle strokes. And make sure your sides are even. Now we're going to use our color switch pad and clean off our brush so we can move to HOE, which is a slightly lighter brown. You're going to lay that right on top of the dark brown and continue to the rest of your lid. You want to make sure you're blending both colors really well. Blending is easiest when doing circular motions and ombreing on top of one another. As you can see, I continue to finish covering the rest of my eyelid with the lighter brown. Now we're going to switch palettes to the Sweet Talk palette by ColourPop, and we're going to use this lighter brown up top to cover both of the browns we've already applied. This helps lighten up both browns. Make sure you're blending it again with circular motions, especially when you get to the top part of your shadow. Make sure you're doing it lightly with circular motions so that the transition isn't super harsh. Now we're going to take our Lacey's Brow Light Pencil in matte pink and give our brows a little bit more arch, but also help create a barrier between our shadow and our brow. I like to just apply it and kind of rub it in with my fingers just so it's not a harsh edge. Now we're going to put primer on our face now that our eyes are done. Remove your tape. Make sure your eyes are a little bit even, or even, not a little bit. Now we're going to use the e.l.f. Poreless Primer. I like to put a little bit on the top of my hand where the oils don't lay. And then I like to wipe it in with my fingers as it's the easiest application. Make sure you're avoiding your eyes and your brows that you. Here comes our Apricot Master Cameo pen that I like to use for my dark circles. You can use color correctors for your whole face, but this time I only did the apricot for under my dark circles. I like to take a damp sponge and blend it in lightly. Now it's highlight time. We're going to use Kerrigan's Glowing in Pearl. I like to put a little bit on my hand and use the bottom of my damp sponge. Now put this on your cheekbones and around your eye onto your forehead. I like to put it on my bridge of my nose, my Cupid's bow, which is right below your nose, and your chin. This and in the center of your forehead. Aurora is a very bright skin tone, and she seems to have a lot of highlighted areas. So this is important to do. Now we're going to move to the foundation. I like to put foundation on my hand as well, so it's easier to blend. Again, this is a damp sponge, not a wet one, a damp one. Now slowly start dotting the foundation on lightly all over your face. Then I like to, again, dot. I'm patting my face. I'm not pushing super hard to move the foundation around. I'm more or less just patting it on, which leaves out the effect of being like strokes. So this is very important. Make sure you're patting it down. Now cover your entire face, all the crevices. Make sure you cover that apricot. If you did use any color correctors, this is the time that you want to make sure that you're getting full coverage with your foundation. Again, make sure you avoid your eyebrows and your Now it's time for some contour. We're going to use our Tardis Glow palette, and we're going to use the Sketch Liquid Brown contouring liquid. We're going to use a flat, small brush so I can edge out my sharper nose. Since Aurora's features are a tad sharper as she's a cartoon, this helps sculpt my nose so that it's a little bit skinnier and a tad bit more pointy. This is definitely one of the effects I feel creates a specific look. Now I'm going to edge out my chin and jawline to give it a more sharp, skinny look. This is very important if you want your look to look similar to the character. Now I'm going to take my edged brush and do the same thing to my cheekbones. I'm only going to put a little bit, seems like a lot, but I'm going to blend it in really well to give my cheeks that really sharp look like Aurora. Now make sure you're blending, blending, blending. Circular motions blending. If you feel you put too much, you can always go back with your wet sponge and a little bit of concealer. Again, blend it out with your flat brush. Blend, blend, blend. Most important part. I like to lightly blend my nose. I don't blend my nose super hard like the rest of my face. That way I can keep that edge. Now it's concealer time. This is a different concealer. It's a lighter shade than my skin tone because I like to use it to brighten up underneath my eyes as well as the bridge of my nose. I also like to place some on my Cupid's bow as well as my chin and the center of my forehead like we did the highlighter. Again, dab it in. It's going to take a second. Don't rush it. Just dab it in lightly. Try not to swipe it and wipe it. That way it goes on naturally. Make sure you're getting underneath your eyelid and covering up that apricot. This part is very important. Like I said before, Aurora has a very bright skin tone. You can see how different it looks with this. Now it's blush time. We're going to be using our Evelyn's Blush and Crush Cream to Powder Blush Sticks in Mulberry and Pink Dragon Fruit. I'm going to apply the Pink Dragon Fruit first to give it a brighter look. And then I'm going to add the Mulberry right on top to give it a deep, rich look as the character has both a pinkish but darker cheek tone. Now I'm just going to take my finger and lightly warm it up and blend it in. I want it to stand out like the character, so I'm going to leave it a tad thicker than I usually would. Now it's setting powder time. I use Rimmel London setting powder right now. It's a very translucent beige cream color. I usually do translucent to where it's white, but I've been enjoying this more skin tone setting powder. I'm going to put some on the pad, and I'm going to basically only apply it where I did my contour, so underneath my... Now I'm going to wait a second or two before I brush it in with my brush. Again, you want it to bake or set a little bit more. Now I'm going to take my brush and kind of just brush it in a little bit more. You guys can see what a difference the powder made. Now we're going to take a small flat brush and we're going to use our Tarte Glow palette again. But this time we're going to take the lightest highlighter and we're going to highlight underneath our brows to give it a brighter, more opening look. I'm going to take a little bit of that highlighter and put it on the inside of my eyes and kind of overlap a little bit of that brown on the inside. This is going to widen my eyes as well as brighten my eyes to help with Aurora's very light glowing complexion. Now we're going to go back to our Alyssa Edwards palette and our HOE color, and we're going to take a smaller brush and go underneath our eyelids with it to give us like an eyeliner look but with shadow, and then we're going to just buff it in a little bit more so it's a little bit cleaner. Again, color switch pad to clean your brush so that you don't mix colors. Now we're going to take our Asha's ink liner and we're just going to put a thin layer. Do not go all the way down to the corner of your eyes. Start where your lashes start on the inside of your eyes and work your way out. I'm only doing this to give it a thicker look, to kind of give my lashes a background to help bounce off of. So again, we're just going to start where our lashes start on the inside of our eyes and then drag it and bring it just a thinnish line, you know, not too thick. We don't want it to be the, you know, center of attention on our eyes. Now we're going to set our brows. We're going to take our Krista's brow gel and we're going to brush a little bit on, and then I like to wipe my finger across my brow and help press down the brow. And this way you guys get a darker, more sculpted look. Now we're going to take our Pump It Up Maggie mascara and lightly apply a thin layer to the top lashes. Also, you want to make sure that you're not pumping but swirling the wand inside of your container. Now it's lash time. What lash should I use? Choices, choices. I decided to go with the Mary Claire. She's a foaming lash full and gives volume to your eyes with a little bit of intricacy of the lashes. You can see some are smaller than the other ones, and that definitely gives depth. You're going to apply our lash adhesive to the band and the top part of the band on the lash. Less is more with our lash adhesive. It's going to go on white iridescent, and once it's dry, it's going to be a blue iridescent. I like to give it 30 seconds or so. Okay, now it's time to apply this lash. You're going to go in at an angle. Look at the mirror. Go in at an angle and make sure you're placing the lash behind your own eyelashes. Applying lashes takes practice and patience. The lash applicator I'm using helps out a lot. It's easier than using my thumbs. So now what I'm doing is making sure that it's stuck down in the corners, and what I'm doing is taking my fingers and mashing the lash and my natural lashes together so that it hides my natural lash and all you see is the lash. Now repeat. Now repeat with the other side. Same thing with the glue, application, let it dry. And again, go in at an angle, looking straight on at the mirror, and make sure you're pressing the corners down in, as those buggers like to pop up so much. Again, you know, just because it's taking me a second doesn't mean I don't know what I'm doing. Sometimes some lashes are a little harder than others, but now we are going to take our mascara and finish our bottom lashes with a very easy, non-clumpy application. It's lipstick time. Based on the photo I was going off of, I decided that I was going to use a different liner and lipstick to give it a more dark, but, you know, create depth as well in my lip. So I'm going to use the Contour with Grace lip pencil in Violet. I'm just going to slowly outline my lip. I like to go a little bit past, give it more of like an X look, and you can see that I don't go fully until I'm done tracing the sides of my lip. It doesn't matter if you get a little bit on your lip, we'll be using lipstick. Next is Berry Bouquet, our Molly Gets Matte Liquid Lipstick that dries matte. Slowly, easily apply that, you know, rub your lips together so you can get a little bit of that violet purple inside of it. And there you go. Wait 5 minutes at least before drinking or eating anything if you want it to be smudge proof. Now we're going to take our Carrageen's Glowing in Pearl highlighter again with our finger, and we're going to lightly highlight some spots in our face, like the bridge of your nose and the tip of your nose, right underneath your eye, right above your blush, your Cupid's bow, and your chin and forehead. This is just going to give us a little bit more pop of glow, like I said, so that we can get that very bright, luminescent look that Aurora. Yay, the fun part. It's wig time. Now, when you're applying your wig, make sure you push the back on first, then pull it forward and adjust the front. Now, this wig is shorter than Aurora's hair, but it's what I had on hand. And I decided since I didn't have a crown, I was going to go for her woodland, tied back look more than her princess crown look. So I'm just going to tie this underneath my wig. I did this on camera so you guys could see how I apply my wig and put it on to make it a lot easier for you guys. Now just adjust the wig as you see fit, get her going, and then I love the look. Hope you guys did too. Let me know what I can do better next time, and as always, live long and prosper.